As a kid, the weekends were just the best. I mean, you didn't have to worry about getting up for early for any work shift that you have. You didn't have to worry about making money. You just got to live your life how you wanted it. You could stay up as late as you wanted on Friday night and wake up as late as you wanted on Saturday morning. I usually only woke up around like 7 in the morning anyway, but I would come downstairs to the kitchen and my dad would be making waffles. So I would make a 3-stack of waffles and I would go right to the TV to watch Saturday morning cartoons. And I would usually turn to the anime channel because that's just who I am. And one of my favorite animes to watch on Saturday morning was I loved Yu-Gi-Oh! So much. It was just so fun to see where each duel would happen in each episode. I've collected so many of the cards. I've collected so many, like, Funko Pops. I got a Red Eyes Black Dragon right there. Right here, I have a Blue Eyes White Dragon, which is really cool. I got him for Christmas. But yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Just has always been amazing to me. I've always loved it. But I've recently seen the entire series again, and I have to say, some of the duels that were in these episodes were great, and the others fell short of the potential they had. So, I'm gonna give a ranking of 1 to 10 of the best duels, 10 being the worst, 1 being the best, of the top 10 duels of Yu-Gi-Oh! That I thought were amazing. So, without further ado, let's get to the countdown. For number 10, we are starting off with Season 4 of Yu-Gi-Oh! I know that Season 4 wasn't everyone's favorite. I mean, it wasn't mine. When I was really young and it first came on TV, I thought it was really cool. But as I got older watching it, I got bored with it, kind of like, now that I'm understanding the rules of Yu-Gi-Oh!, understanding how cheap the Silvori Calcos actually was, how they made it in the anime compared to the actual card effects. But the season still had some great episodes. And number 10 is Yu-Gi-Oh! Versus Raphael. The reason why this makes the list is that we can see a whole new deck that Raphael uses, the Guardian deck. We see all these types of monsters. And we get to see the background of Raphael. He kind of has a cool origin story, how he was on a cruise ship that capsized, and he spent like 10 or so years on an island playing duel monsters. He's got a cool background. But the reason that this makes number 10 for me is this is the first time we see Atem lose a duel against the bad guys. It's also, we can see evil Yugi, like Raphael gives Yugi the Silvori Calcos, and Yugi thinks that this duel is so important, even though there's nothing on the line, because the seal has been played, like, if he loses, he loses. But winning's all important to Atem, so he plays a Silvori Calcos, and you get this amazing bit of evil Yugi being all, like, evil sounding as he goes throughout the duel. And then Raphael plays his trump card, Guardian Yatos. It takes away all the attack points of Yugi's monsters into 1 attack, 10,000, and Raphael attacks beating Yugi. I remember the first time seeing Yugi lose, I'm like, what? What just happened? It was insane, and it was awesome. That takes number 10, just because he got evil Yugi, a cool evil character background, and just pretty cool duel overall. For number 9, we got a Battle City duel. This is in the preliminary rounds, and it is the 4-way duel in the duel tower between Yugi, Kaiba, Merrick, and Joey. This is probably one of the coolest duels that the Battle City arc had in Season 2. It's just awesome how it's like no holds barred against these 4 duelists. It's great. I mean, there's this one attack thing where Yugi summons his Archfiend of Guilford, and he's going to attack Kaiba with it, and then Kaiba uses his trap card attack guidance armor, which directs Yugi's attack to Merrick's monster, and Merrick uses Mirror Wall, or not Mirror Force, to reflect the attack back at Yugi. Then Yugi uses his own trap card, 7 Tools of the Bandit, destroying Mirror Force, therefore having Archfiend of Guilford destroy Merrick's monster, and Merrick takes damage. It is so cool. I mean, all these characters are out for blood in this duel. They're attacking, they're finding ways to counter attacks, and then their opponents aren't looking out for themselves. Well, they kind of are, but they're trying to destroy other opponents that are not their own opponents. It's not a big matter who wins or who loses in this one. I mean, whoever comes in 3rd and 4th, 2nd and 1st ends up dueling each other in the end. But it's crazy how the 4-way battle goes. I mean, each character puts their heart into it. Like, Yugi is trying to defend Joey, but Joey wants to go up against Merrick, and Kaiba wants to go up against Yugi. Each have their own personal goals through this 4-person duel. It is really fun to watch. It's super intense, and I think it definitely deserves a place on top 10 duels. For number 8, we got Joey versus Merrick. This duel was insane itself. I mean, ever since Mai was sent to the Shadow Realm by Merrick from her duel, we've had this vow from Joey that he's gonna rescue her from the Shadow Realm, and he finally gets his chance by taking on Merrick in this duel. And the way that the duel goes out is crazy. We know that Merrick is no stranger to sending duelists to the Shadow Realm for their duels, and this one is no different. What he does is, after he creates the Shadow Realm, the rules for this Shadow game is that the duelists are connected basically by like a health tether to their monsters. So, whatever happens to the monster, their controller is gonna feel it. Like, Alligator Sword at one point is drilled to be destroyed, and we get the scream from Joey, and we assume that's probably what it felt like to be drilled to death. It is crazy. What is crazier is that the way that Merrick uses the Winged Dragon of Ra. I mean, there's one point where Joey's able to come out with a great strategy. He sacrifices 3 monsters, and he brings out, like, his ace monster of the deck in this season, his Guilford the Lightning. But Merrick's prepared for that, and he's able to summon his Winged Dragon of Ra, and he activates Phoenix mode on Ra. And this destroys every monster that Joey has on the field. And it's crazy, because we can literally see Joey burning to death as this effect is happening. And then Guilford is destroyed, and Merrick's like, at the end of it, Ra is... I think Ra goes back to the graveyard or something, but Joey, he actually survives the attack, which surprises even Merrick, because Merrick completely thought he killed Joey, which he does, kind of. Like, the episode in the sub is Jonochi dies, and in this one, Joey is sent to the Shadow Realm, but it's crazy to see Winged Dragon of Ra's Phoenix mode used on Joey. It's crazy to see him burning. Just their entire duel is a fun thing to watch. And their life tether thing is a nice, sick little twist to it. That is enjoyable. So I gotta give that number 8. Battle City definitely was the peak of Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, this duel takes number 7, which is Yugi versus Arcana. This is when everyone's still going around the city trying to collect locator cards to actually qualify to be in the final rounds of Battle City. And what is great about this duel is just Arcana's this also is a controller of a dark magician. You're thinking like Yugi's the only one that could have a dark magician. But no, Arcana also controls a magic deck, and his dark magician is like this dark magician in red armor. I remember when this episode first aired, and like elementary school we all talked about it, how there's a red dark magician. We thought that was really cool. And throughout the whole duel, it's crazy, like, how they can play these moves that counter each other with their spell and trap cards and attacks. But what makes this duel get on the list, besides Arcana's Dark Magician, is the consequences of losing. I mean, in the sub, there are buzzsaws on the sides of this life counter that'll move closer to the duelist that loses their life points, and the person that loses, they'll get their legs cut off while their opponent walks free. However, in the dub, because it's for kids, they call them dark energy discs, and when they're touched by the dark energy disc, their mind goes to the shadow realm. But it's crazy to think that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has such a dark episode where they would have their legs cut off and bleed to death. Just the consequences and just everything about this duel was crazy. Arcana was a really cool duelist too. I like his deck and how he knew how to use his magic cards and stuff. He was a cool duelist. But he takes number 7 just because of the consequence that would happen if the loser actually loses the duel. Just getting your legs cut off, man, that's like Saw or something. I don't like Duelist Kingdom Arc particularly, just because the duels are fake so the protagonist will win. Like, Yugi and Joey just screw the rules through every duel they have so they can actually win the duels to get star chips. But I do have to say that in the Duelist Kingdom Arc, the Yugi versus Bakura, that was really cool. I mean, Bakura sends them all to the Shadow Realm, so Bakura can take Yugi's Millennium Puzzle, and that's when Atem takes over Yugi's body, so it's Atem versus Bakura having a duel. And what is really cool about this is that each monster that Atem plays is like a character from the series. Like, Joey is the Flame Swordsman, Yugi is the Dark Magician, Teia's Magician of Faith, Tristan is this Cyber Commander, I think that was his name. But it's awesome because they're actually the duel monsters in the Shadow Duel of a game. And this part is pretty dark because Tristan gets destroyed by one of Bakura's monsters. And we actually get to see the graveyard in Duel Monsters, which is a pretty creepy cemetery. Like, it's what you would expect to see in like a horror movie or something. And I'm surprised that 4Kids allowed this because it doesn't have writing ever. But there's a part where Tristan goes to this tombstone and he rubs away the dust on it and it has his name on it and he's like, "I'm dead! No!" It's crazy, but really fun to watch. To see these people act out the powers and the characteristics that these duel monsters have. It's awesome. Definitely on the list for number 6. Really cool. Alright, number 5. Well, this duel kind of takes us on a break from Battle City, and it takes us to Cyber World, which a lot of people seem to not like, but I loved it. I mean, Yugi and the group going against the Big Five that have taken forms of duel monsters known as Deck Masters, and them dueling to keep their bodies, which the Big Five want. I mean, the entire arc of this has big stakes to it. If they lose, their bodies get taken from them, and the Big Five get back into the real world from cyberspace. It's crazy! And, the duel starts off with Noah versus Kaiba, and he's doing great. Noah cheats by using Mokuba as basically leverage against Kaiba. The two are turned to stone in the end, and that's when Yugi takes Kaiba's place against this duel against Noah. And it's crazy. This duel, because of Noah continuously gaining life points throughout the duel, and Yugi, he figures out ways to gain life points, like he activates trap cards like Nutrient Z to get into full health, but there are still things during the duel that lowers his life points. It's a crazy duel. The thing I loved about it, though, is that Kaiba and Yugi's duel decks, they're mixed together. So you got these two incredible duelists basically dueling as a team, as one person, as Yugi. What I love about it is that Yugi controls the Blue Eyes White Dragon in this. Like, near the end of it, for his victory thing, he's able to summon out the three-headed Blue Eyes White Dragon. And then he's able to defusion them into 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. And at this point, Noah's like wide open for a direct attack. And that's what Yugi goes for. Direct attack with 9,000 points of damage. Yugi's finally able to defeat Noah. But that duel was crazy. I mean, Yugi goes all out in this. Like, there's one part where he's able to use the Black Luster Ritual to bring out the Magician of Black Chaos. He also has his Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl on the field, and Noah's able to work his way around that attack, which would have wiped Noah out earlier, but Noah's able to deflect it somehow. And it's not until the Blue Eyes that Yugi controls that Noah is able to be defeated finally. But that duel is crazy. Like, it's probably one of my favorite moments of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where Yugi controls the Blue Eyes White Dragons instead of Kaiba. That's definitely cool. That takes number 5 for me, for sure. The first duel of the Battle City playoffs has to be one of the coolest. We're back to Yugi versus Bakura, and Bakura's in the Battle City finals, and his dueling tactics is crazy. Like, he's playing all these weak monsters in attack mode, and Yugi's just destroying them, wiping out Bakura's life points, and everyone's just like, man, Yugi's dueling like the worst duelist in the world. How'd he get to the top? And even Yugi himself is cocky. He's like, alright, one more direct attack and I can end this duel. And then that's when Bakura starts executing his strategy. I mean, he brings out Dark Necrosphere, and then he uses Dark Sanctuary, a card that is very creepy. Like, it sends the blimp not into the Shadow Realm, but like a realm that's covered in mouths and eyes and is actually like looks like hell. There's like a castle in the background, which would be like Satan's castle, it seems. It's crazy. And he also has this spirit card that can possess Yugi's monsters. So when Yugi attacks with his monsters, sometimes the possessed monster, like the spirit, will attack Yugi. And the life points that Yugi loses, they'll go to Bakura. So as Yugi grows weaker, Bakura grows stronger. It is crazy. Like, Bakura totally does a 360 on the duel, and he definitely gets the upper hand for a large part of this duel. Not only does he have Dark Sanctuary and his spirit that can control monsters, but he also has Destiny board, which in the sub, I just have to say it spells death, while in the dub, it spells final. Anyway, like, as long as Bakura lasts 5 more turns, it'll spell out the word and automatically win, basically, because he spelled the final message of the board. And he also has this spell, Dark Door, which he can only attack with 1 monster once per turn. And if he chooses the possessed monster to attack with, he'll lose half the monster's attack points from his life points, which Bakura gains. It is insane. Like, Yugi would have definitely lost this duel if he had not drawn Slifer the moment he had. Because Bakura was 1 letter away from the Destiny board from playing it. If he had attacked with any other monster, he probably would have chosen a possessed monster, losing the rest of his life points to Bakura. And just Bakura had a complete amazing strategy to this duel. Like, he led Yugi to a comfortable position at the beginning, and he just destroyed Yugi's confidence from there with his own creepy monsters. I love Bakura's deck. Like, that's why I duel with an occult deck in real life, because I like fiend and zombie monsters with their effects, and they can be used to make stronger monsters. So yeah, that definitely takes number 4 in my favorite duels in the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Alright, we are to the top 3. Now, number 3 in these duels would have to be Bakura versus Bones in Battle City. This is probably one of the epic, coolest duels ever Yu-Gi-Oh! Has done. Bakura, he's working with Merrick. Like, he's made Merrick the deal that if Bakura can get into the Battle City finals, then, and win back Slifer the Sky Dragon from Yugi and deliver it to Merrick, then Merrick will deliver his Millennium Rod and other Millennium items to Bakura. So they got this whole side evil thing going on. So Bakura, he gets this tip that there's duels going on in a cemetery, and that is where he meets Bones and his little group of cronies. They're not really dueling at this point, they're just like scaring people out of the cemetery, stealing their locator cards. And then we finally get this duel with Bakura and Bones going on, and I don't know why, but there's always one point in the duel where duelists make fun of Bones' face. I mean, season 1, you got Joey versus Bones in Arena Los Duels. They make fun of his face. And then, after Bakura summons his first monster, Bones is like freaked out by it, and one of his cronies makes fun of Bones' face. So it must have a creepy face, but I don't know.
Afraid, but not because of the graveyard or your ooga booga rap. It's your creepy face that gave me the willies.
Your face is scarier than that duel monster's card, Bones.
Hey, I didn't see it coming.
What makes this duel really fun is that the similarities of monsters between Bakura and Bones' decks. I mean, they both use occult decks, so they use zombie and fiend monsters, and this is like crazy because like Bakura's using these fiendish type spell cards and monsters that have creepy names to them, like the Shallow Grave, or there's one part where Bakura uses a monster to squeeze life points out of Bakura. Bones uses it to attack Bakura, and it's crazy. At this one point though, Bakura says, "Do you know where we are? I've transported us to the Shadow Realm." And they look around, and basically they're in hell. And there's this one point where these spirits come crawling up, like, moaning, and Bones and the others are freaked out by it, and they ask Bakura what that is, and Bakura says they're wandering souls. And it's really creepy that the fact that this duel is going on in hell. That part is just creepy. So you got Bones, who's just super scared, super freaked out because Bakura says if Bones loses this duel, he's gonna send Bones and his cronies to hell, and he won't release them until Bakura chooses to, which was really creepy. And Bones ends up drawing Nightmare's steel cage, trapping Bakura for 2 turns. But sadly, Bakura draws Ectoplasmer, which he launches at Bones, ending the duel, sending his life points down to 0. Bakura ends up sending them as wandering spirits, Bones and his cronies as wandering spirits, and that's the last we see of Bones. The very last. The last scene is Bakura walking out of the cemetery with all the 6 locator cards, and it's just creepy to know that Bones is now a wandering spirit, being the last we ever saw of him. It's such a creepy duel. It's intense. It gives a strange, eerie feeling to it. It's awesome. That is why it's number 3, because it's just super fun to watch. For number 2, this is another Seal of Orichalcos arc, which is Yugi versus Weevil. I love this duel, actually. This was really cool. This is the point where Atem's on his own. Yugi's been taken by the Seal of Orichalcos because Atem lost his duel to Raphael. And what's crazy is that nothing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been done like this before. Like, Atem and Weevil are dueling on top of a train. That was what I loved about this duel. Like, moving on top of a moving object. Yeah, later you have the episode of Kaiba versus Alistair on a plane, which, even as a kid, I didn't find that believable. But I thought dueling on a train was amazing. And I love the scene, like, when Yugi's making his comeback and he activates Berserker's Soul at the end of the duel, and he's doing the whole Thra! Monstacado! And for like 6 turns he's able to attack Weevil directly, and it's the entire overkill thing of just slicing Weevil up over and over again every time he draws a monster. It's awesome. It's fun that they're on a train dueling. It's fun that the Seal of Orichalcos is in play in this one. It's just awesome. It's one of the best duels. That's why it takes number 2. Because it was completely different from original Yu-Gi-Oh! There's high stakes in it. Now that Atem's alone, if he loses, it's his soul going. It's just fun. Plus, you can never get tired of Draw Monstacado. So, we are to number 1 in this list of duels from the original series. And this duel goes to Atem versus Merrick from Battle City. And this duel is like the peak of Battle City. It is amazing. This shadow duel is crazy. I mean, we saw my shadow duel against Merrick, where in their duel, when a monster is destroyed, part of their memory goes away. With Joey's duel, when a monster is destroyed, they feel the pain the monster felt that was destroyed. But with this shadow duel, whenever they lose life points, they both have other halves. Like, Merrick has the weaker half of himself, and Atem has Yugi. When either one of them loses life points, then parts of their other half will go to the Shadow Realm, which is a big problem for Atem. I mean, if he loses the duel, Yugi will be lost to the shadows, which would really suck for both of them. I mean, Yugi would be gone, and Atem would cease to exist because he has Yugi's body for a vessel. Anyway, the duel is insane. I mean, they're countering each other through all these traps and spell cards. There's one part where Yugi attacks Merrick directly with Obelisk the Tormentor, and I know that these are just holograms, but with the attack that Merrick takes with Obelisk, that looks like it hurt a lot. Anyway, it's crazy. There's one scene where Atem uses Monster Reborn to use Sliver to block an attack for, to keep Obelisk on the field. And they're going back and forth continuously until Atem finally plays his Ragnarok card. And with this, he's able to banish a monster on his opponent's side of the field. And he chooses the Winged Dragon of Ra, which at this point, Merrick has merged himself with. So if Ra gets banished, Merrick will be defeated. And, so we get this cool scene like Yugi sends his monsters in his hand, his deck, his graveyard, all to the graveyard. Or he banishes everything. And so we get this clip of all these monsters flying around the arena. And Ra gets banished, leaving Merrick's good side behind. And Merrick's good side ends up surrendering the duel, which, honestly, there was no possible other outcome. I mean, Atem had no monsters left. He sacrificed everything to destroy Ra. And honestly, there's no point in going on if you have one life point left. So Merrick surrenders, the good side is left, and his dark side is banished to the Shadow Realm. It is an amazing duel. It's really fun to watch. It's intense. It's long. I think it's like a 6-part duel. But every part is really fun to watch. See how they counter each other throughout the duel. It definitely deserves number 1. Super fun. Alright guys, that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep making more content like this. Please comment down below what your favorite duel of the original series was. Maybe it was one that I listed. If it's not, just leave a comment down below. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.